Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So as you know, Thursday means it's Tier Thursday here in Instant Deck Tech Land, and we have a super sweet list to check out today. So this is the new and improved build of Miracles, which I'm calling Topless Miracles. And this specific build took Ms. Frosty to a 5-0 finish in a recent Legacy League on Magic Online. But like most tier decks, it's pretty much known. Most of the builds of Miracles these days look pretty much something like this, but congrats to Ms. Frosty on their finish with the deck. A quick reminder before we break down Topless Miracles for Legacy. If you enjoy this deck and you want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. So Topless Miracles is called Topless Miracles because it doesn't have Sensei's Divining top. So if you're not familiar with Legacy Miracles, Sensei's Divining Top is super good. It is probably the most important card of the deck, and Wizards banned Sensei's Divining Top specifically to hit Miracles, which was the #1 best deck in the format for a long time. So because there's no Sensei's Divining Top, the deck also loses Counterbalance, which was kind of its lock. But now, the deck has somehow managed to pick up the pieces after losing not just one, but two really key cards. Top because of the banning, and Counterbalance because you need top for it to be good, and it's still near the top of the Legacy format. It's like 4th most played deck, I think, in the format, which is pretty impressive. Not many people expected Miracles could not only survive, but thrive after the top banning. So the new build of this deck, to replace top, goes very heavy on the 1-mana cantrip. So Ponder and Brainstorm, pretty normal. Some Miracle builds have played them before. Everyone plays Brainstorm. Some Miracle decks played some number of Ponders. The new addition is Portent, which is kind of like the world's worst Ponder. It's a Ponder, almost exactly like a Ponder, except you lose the ability to shuffle when you don't like the cards on top of your deck, and you don't get to draw the card until your next upkeep. So you gotta wait a turn to actually draw an extra card. Otherwise, it works exactly like Ponder. Brainstorm is Brainstorm, so instead of using top for the filtering and finding the cards and finding what you need in the deck, it's relying on these 12 1-mana cantrips. So what are our payoffs for these cards that can arrange the top of our deck? Well, we have Terminus, not 4 Terminus, but we still have 2 Terminus, which is a good one. It's a 1-mana Wrath, so we can use our Portents, our Brainstorms, our Ponders to set it up on top of our deck, and then we're able to draw it and cast it for 1 mana with the Miracle cost. Predict might not look that impressive, but it's actually super good if we can set it up with all of our 1-mana cantrips. So pretty much what it comes down to is if we know the top card of our deck, because we put it there with a Ponder, with a Portent, whatever, we can cast Predict and we mill that card, and then we draw 2. So it becomes a 2-mana instant speed divination that also lets us mill a bad card. Then we also have Monastery Mentor, which isn't exactly a payoff for manipulating the top of our library, but it is a payoff for having so many 1-mana cantrips. So every time we Ponder, Brainstorm, Portent, we're getting a Prowess trigger, we're getting a Monk token, we're pumping up our Monk tokens, and we're just able to take over the game really quickly by chaining together all these cheap spells, flood the board with our Monks, beat our opponent down, kill them really quick. The rest of the finishers in the deck, we got 3 Jason Mind Sculptor, which is just the most powerful Planeswalker ever printed, still hasn't been topped, and then Snapcaster not only flashes back all of our 1-mana cantrips, but all the rest of the spells in our deck as well, and the whole rest of the main deck is just overloaded with spells. So Swords Plowshares gives us some cheap removal, super efficient, unexpectedly absent, gets rid of anything, albeit temporarily. Although in Legacy there's so many fetches, you can use it in response to your opponent cracking a fetch. The card gets shuffled away for just 2 mana, very strong. Supreme Verdict as an additional Wrath to go along with the Terminus, and then we have some counters, 3 counter spells, 4 Force of Will, so tons of things to flashback with our Snapcasters. In the mana base, a bunch of fetch lands, which are super important even without top. So Clearly, with Sensei's Divining Top, fetch lands are essential because you want to be able to maybe rearrange your library so you have the card you want on top of your deck, 2 cards you don't want below that card, and then you draw the card you want, you crack your Polluted Delta, Flooded Strand, Arid Mesa, whatever fetch you have, shuffle away those cards, you get fresh cards on top, so you're just constantly drawing good cards with the combination of top and fetch lands. Well, even with top gone and banned in the format, we can still do that with our portents and ponders. We're able to kind of set up our library in that way. They're super essential with Jace and the constant brainstorming and literal brainstorm. So we have a ton of fetches in our deck, even though our mana base isn't really that stringent. As far as the fetchable lands, got some Tundras, couple of Volcanic Islands, no red in the main deck, but we'll talk about why we have Volcanic Islands in just a second. Islands and Plains. As far as the sideboard, this is where the red comes in. So the tiny red splash, which is almost free, we just run a couple of duels, we have tons of fetches anyway, is a Staticaster, gets rid of a bunch of young Pyromancer tokens, shoots down unflipped Delvers, Dark Confidants, actually kills a lot of stuff. Pyroblast is a great counter spell to counter other counter spells or kill opponents' Jaces. There's a lot of blue decks in the Legacy format. Flusterstorm, another great way to win counter wars. Then we have Vendilion Click to pressure our opponent's hand, kind of the blue Thoughtseize. Etherworn Canonist to fight Storm, which is on the rise with the banning of Sensei's Divining Top. One of the top decks, maybe the top deck in Legacy right now. Surgical Extraction for graveyards, Reanimator, Dredge, stuff like that. And then a couple of disenchants as a catch-all artifact and enchantment removal spell. And that is Topless Miracles for Legacy, and that's been our instant deck tech for today. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.